our freedom, who art in privacy, hallowed be thy exemption. Thy Vonu home base come, thou will be free, on earth as it is in Vonu. Give us this day our daily Linux, and forgive us our trespasses as we burn those who trespass against us, and lead us not into jail, but exempt us from evil. Amen.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
Good day, fellow freedom pioneers. The old General Willie 2 here, coming to you with a PAZNIA mutual aid request. Some of you may remember our friend Corey Hughes. Rail 2 had him on the Vonu podcast a couple of times to discuss Kerry Thornley's role in JFK assassination. Thane Riddle had him on to cover some CIA spycraft and identity transfer operations regarding Lee Harvey Oswald. In short, this dude is the preeminent JFK researcher to date, probably the only one worth giving your attention to. But his work goes much deeper than that. Unfortunately, our brother Corey was recently diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer. It was a weird genetic tinge, making the situation a bit more complicated. The success rates aren't bad, but the stress of having to deal with human doctors, exorbitant human medical bills, and the prospects of your life ending quicker than you think. That's fucking tough, man. Let's help our brother Corey through these hard times as we can. If you have any spare dollars, donate directly to him by visiting buymeacoffee.com/JFKbook. Again, buymeacoffee.com/JFKbook. If you want to donate Monero or Bitcoin, visit PAZNIA.com/Corey to be taken to the crypto crowdfunding platform Rail 2 setup. The PAZNIA Radio Network has already made a small donation. Please consider doing the same. Again, buymeacoffee.com/JFKbook to donate fiat directly to Corey, or PAZNIA.com/Corey to donate Monero or Bitcoin via the campaign Rail 2 setup.
Hello, Freedom Pioneers! Billy Mays here. Are you tired of big tech tracking your every click? Are you sick of algorithms deciding what you see? Are you bored of Netflix subscriptions that cost a kidney and Spotify ads that last longer than the song? I know you are, because I'm fucking bored just thinking about it. But I have the solution: infrastructure. So powerful, so private, so decentralized, it will crack the concrete of censorship. It's the brand new PAZNIA library. That's right. It's a free to-use privacy-friendly decentralized combination of Netflix, Spotify, and your digital book app, and it's live right now. Check it out. We've got the full HBO documentary, The Anarchists, with Jason Henza and Miranda Webb. We've got the legendary Bill Cooper documentaries. We've got Alongside Night, libertarian fiction, and Eyes Wide Shut, which, let me tell you, is basically nonfiction. And wait, there's more. We've got Trailer Park Boys. We've got Sky Huddleston's Second Realm Speed Dating, and music streaming is coming soon. Plus, a digital book library is on the way. Terabytes of content, more to upload. We have the beginnings of true media freedom, an infrastructure base with many, many potentialities. I'm Billy Mays, and I'm always here to help you take back your media. Visit lbry.paznia.com. Again, lbry.paznia.com to start streaming today. Billy Mays, signing off to go binge watch Firefly. Over and out.
The money is broken and she wrote the book. She's a macro expert and has good looks. Her hair pulled back behind one ear. She's one of the most important voices to hear, dissecting the world with wisdom and grit. She is light years ahead of the average midwit. On a PodConf tour, she has lasers in her eyes, dismantling all of the fiat types and lies. Whether on Opt or Twitter, her posts are on fire. She's the type of woman that all men desire. There's only one way to tell if you're gay. She's a smoking hot babe who is here to stay. If you want to know the future, you better will listen. Lynn Alden is hot nose macro and her black hair glistens. Whether hand-to-hand combat or just plain debating, she will kick your ass, but that goes without saying. While she has brains, she also has muscles. Never challenge her if you don't expect to tussle. Always spitting molten hot lava on Bitcoin podcast. Pleb, stop to listen to her macro forecast. If you don't think she's hot, you're definitely gay. She's not a woman to be trifled with or ever betrayed. Whether on Nostr or Twitter, her posts are all fire. She's the type of woman that all men desire. There's only one way to tell if you're gay. She's a smoking hot babe who is here to stay. If you want to know the future, you better well listen. Lynn Alden is hot, nose macro, and her black hair glistens. Are all fire. She's the type of woman that all men desire. There's only one way to tell if you're gay. She's a smoking hot babe who is here to stay. If you want to know the future, you better well listen. Lynn Alden is hot, nose macro, and her black hair glistens. And her black hair glistens.
Cloak General WILLY2 here with an important message regarding food, health, and wellness. Sometimes the high-quality PAZNIA wheat, grass, and other forages just don't do it for me. Sometimes I need a change. In those cases, there's only one decision. Me and my closest compatriots bleat that slow bleat for a few hours until we arrive at the local steak and shake. When we get there, it's like clacking right into heaven. I get up to the order booth. Double steak burger and fries, extra spicy, with one of them glass bottle Mexican Cokes. Little one sexy ass walks up and orders some nonsense like 2 orders of fries and mozzarella sticks. The best thing about it? It's not like I'm cheating on my pure beast goat diet. They'll use the highest quality grass-fed meat, tallow, and you can pay in Bitcoin. Thank you, Shay didn't pay me to make this recording. I just think more goats should know where to go for a good and healthy time. Unofficially on behalf of Steak and Shake. Go eat Steak and Shake. It's goatlicious.
Hiding things, harming others, stopping others from harming you. I'm Thane Riddle. This is Cloak and Dagger.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo baby, a gush bush bush. My niggas, it is I, the great Thane Riddle, the fresh prince of privacy, security, and decentralization, punching in for another underpaid shift boss, live from the heart of the Blacklight district of Ashgabat. You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network, the most spectacular treasure in history. We're live on Zap.stream. If you're a Bitcoin fag, you can zap us silly on Zap.stream or Nostr, which is how those of that lifestyle choice say send Lightning Bitcoin over Nostr. If you're Monero Chad, you can send Monero at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA radio. Whatever you do, tell them Thane sent you. Give me free content to help me kill time on the show. I may or may not need it. I've got 2 weeks of news to cover and could probably make some stuff up. I don't know. Maybe there's some fan mail. Go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleXradio. Get your ass into the PAZNIA Radio Network chat on SimpleX. Leave messages. I'll read them on the show at some time. I don't know when.
You've got mail.
I'll also take live call-ins at some time at PAZNIA.com/call2. Yeah, he did the phone ringing one. He meant to do you got mail, probably first time that he fixed it though. There's not gonna, it's soon. I hope soon TM, the down to earth tips will come back. The show will be restored soon. That's what I'm aiming for. I realized, Thane Riddle, the Fresh Prince of Privacy, Security, and Decentralization. I got other topics to work with. It doesn't have to only be privacy stuff. So the low-hanging fruit, because you guys gave me like lists of good ideas for stuff to use for down-to-earth tips and stuff, and I kind of just was like, well, those are kind of hard, so I'm gonna go put them away and look at them later. But but I realized, hey, there is more low-hanging fruit. All I have to do is talk about everyday carry and weapons and like prepper stuff, making a shelter, and then we can go to some other crap, some other kinds of security and I don't know, decentralization shit. I don't know. There's all sorts of crap I can talk about. I'll start getting back to down to earth tips and whatever sometime soon, but not now, because it's a miracle. It's a miracle that I wrote as much news for 2 weeks as I did, and literally the last minute before the show went on. Anyway, the guest this show is P.A.Z.NIA, Thane, who you might be able to see on your screen. If you're watching this in video form, which is like, if you are, it's almost like, what's wrong with you? Like, what did they even put on the screen? Advertisements? Well, enjoy. Eventually P.A.Z.NIA Thane will speak, but he's looking for a voice transformer, just like most folks who want to speak, most folks who want to call in. Anyway, here's some news now.
This is Cloak and Dagger News, catching you up on this week's stories, propaganda, or psychological operations critical to your security and privacy.
There was no show last week, so I got to do last week's news first. So here's last week's news. PAZNIA news from last week. PAZNIA news from last week is brought to you by the PAZNIA Monero raffle at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA-lottery. Send a multiple of 100th of Monero, 0.01 XMR. Get a raffle ticket for everyone you send. Make sure you send it with a fresh new Monero subaddress of your own in case you win. And do check the private box to hide the subaddress from blockchain analysts. Around the end of 2026, one of these lucky little tickets could win you half of all the Monero raised by the raffle boss. The Monero is already starting to flow into the raffle, so don't miss out. Go to xmrchat.com/PAZNIA-lottery to get your tickets, or go to PAZNIA.com/raffle-FAQ, FAQ, to learn more. And the only PAZNIA news item is the PAZNIA raffle is out. So you can go to PAZNIA.com/raffle-FAQ, FAQ, to learn more about that. Hardware news from last week, and it's not even news. This is only like, this is like a, hey, I found something and I'm showing it to you. It's most likely shameful. I found this. I bet it's been around for a little while. From Rumble. We got a message from Rumble. Boomer Hellstew reporting for duty on Rumble. I can't tell what kind of emoticon that. Oh, is that a saluting emoticon? Live the Pikachu guy. I think he's saying love the Pikachu guy, but I do like that you imagined it was long live. Yeah, long live P.A.Z.NIA Thane. I see the emoji. Maybe you don't. You got to install the right emoji fonts. It just looked funny for me. I think it's a saluting emoticon. Long live P.A.Z.NIA Thane. We're already having boomers swear allegiance to P.A.Z.NIA Thane. Wouldn't you know? It's so, it's so odd to me to think about how Rumble gets some of our most views, and then it's extra surreal that they're now finally bringing up the fact that I refer to them as boomers all on Rumble. So it's officially a meme for them. So that's good. That's good for them. I'm glad they've got something to do on their fancy, shiny devices that they don't understand. You'll figure it out. You'll work it out. Anyway, hardware news, which isn't even news from last week. Lemon manuals turned up on my radar. lemon-manuals.la. If you're into cars, if you have a car, or you might come across a car, or you might want to, if you imagine yourself, maybe you don't have a car, maybe you ride a bike, all right, but you're also a prepper, and you have some extra hard drive space, so you're thinking, if the shit hits the fan, mechanics are going to want car manuals, right? Because they're subscribed to these faggot like services, like software as a service type stuff that gives them car manuals, which is dumb. Anyway, if you go to lemon-manuals.la, which isn't their only domain, it seems to be a pretty good source for pirating car manuals for a lot of car models. I mean, this is an old story.
Prepared for the future.
That's right. This is an old storied tradition. Having car manuals is very important. It's a very good idea. Any kind of vehicle you have, you want the manuals for them. Maybe in paper, in the vehicle, but at the very least digitally. And these guys are combining the old Charm database, which is a bit older, from some 2013 DVDs, with the new Lemon database. And whatever, it's a lot of fucking manuals. All right, it's a lot for cars from 1960 to 2025. And also they have, if you're crazy enough, you can torrent all of it at lemon-manuals.la/bittorrent.html, which is also in their About section. If you click on their About link, you can torrent the whole. You can torrent you can kind of pick whether you want to torrent just the Charm database or just the Lemon database, or you can do both. Each one's around half a terabyte. So if you want to dedicate a whole terabyte of your own storage to storing every car manual, somebody might be willing to pay you. I'm just saying, like, there are some scenarios, there are some shit hits the fan scenarios where car manuals will be worth something, even digital car manuals. And if their domain goes down, don't fret. They've got other domains. It happens. It's like Anna's Archive or something, or fucking the Pirate Bay. You know, it happens. Everyone knows that. They'll be fine. But yeah, you should look at. I can't over highlight how big a deal it is, how big a deal car manuals are. They're kind of a big deal. You always want to keep the manuals for your specific models and the years of vehicles, and you also want some parts that commonly break, and supplies and oil and things like that, and some tools. Keep some tools in the car for doing all the normal things that go wrong, fixing those things. Anyway, digital news. Digital news is brought to you by Jammin' Baconic's Ghost Devices at libertyunderattack.com/Thane. The Ghost Devices, such as the Ghost Phone or Ghost Pad laptop, among others, come with modified hardware, open source firmware, and or open source software to remove backdoors and surveillance while empowering you. If you care at all about your privacy or security, or shielding yourself from the kinds of digital threats I might touch on in the digital news, you must have digital devices like these Ghost Devices that only do what you want them to do, boss, not what anyone else wants them to do. There's no other way. You must start with the right hardware, firmware, and operating system. Go to libertyunderattack.com/Thane to get yourself some Ghost Devices. Or if you want something not listed there, email Shane at libertyunderattack.com for something more tailored to your needs. Digital news from last week. This is another story that I didn't bother to really read, which is a shame because it seems interesting. It seems like something worth reading more about. But there were some, and I think it might be somehow linked to, at least tangentially linked to the fucking, I can't even remember their name anymore. That hardware wallet that had a big fat exploit that kind of looked like a backdoor but the jury is out on whether it was or not. Some people lost Bitcoin. Well, a couple guys did a AI audits of a big fat open source stack of Bitcoin software, Bitcoin related software. A couple guys threw almost 60,000 USD at some AI and sicked it on the open source Bitcoin stack, all kinds of stuff, BTC Pay server, whatever. They claim that they found a lot wrong. They claim that they found a lot of security bugs, a lot of critical security bugs in a lot of software projects. And what they're saying is that the bottleneck is responsible disclosure, because they're going to some open source projects page and they don't have a fucking email address. They don't have any, they're not really doing things the right way to help with responsible disclosure. It's hard to reach out to them. So they're like, who the fuck do we even tell about this? How do we get this? And that's very telling. And it's a very key topical point that's going to be in your face at some point in the near future, I think. If responsible disclosure of critical security bugs for cryptocurrency software can't be done, we need to think about how to push the issue. No pun intended. Maybe maybe we need to think about less responsible disclosure or something. But because this is something has to be done about this. I think everybody in this new era of auditing stuff with AI, looking for vulnerabilities and stuff with AI. I think it's a big deal to be proactive. It's a big deal for the ones who want to fix it to do this and to get the money thrown at fixing this before the attackers do, because let me tell you something, it's worth it. $60,000 to find 1,000 critical security bugs in cryptocurrency software is worth it. For attackers, that will pay off many times over, and they don't have a responsible disclosure bottleneck. They're not interested in disclosing it. They're interested in exploiting it. So, and this is very cutting edge stuff. It's a matter of time before more bad attacks like this happen. I think everybody needs to stay frosty at this time. Keep an eye on crypto security bugs and updates in the coming months, maybe next year or two. I fear that the only way the ecosystem will be fixed as much as it should be is the hard way. So that email for responsible disclosure isn't going to pop up just because someone wrote an article saying you should really have wagging their finger. You should really have an email for responsible disclosure or whatever. That's not going to do it. What's going to do it is millions and millions of dollars being stolen over and over again. That's what's going to do it. And you know what? That's your reward. That's your reward. As the black hat hacker, it's really your reward in a way, isn't it? I mean, if the black hat hacker can exploit the bug faster and make money off of it, and in the process reveal the bug to the whole world, it's kind of like, well, if you wanted to fix it without that happening for cheaper, you could have spent less than that on AI or on an audit. So it's kind of like, it finders keepers, right? It's kind of like the code is law. You remember how Ethereum was forked because of an exploit in a big fat smart contract, and the Ethereum Classic guys got pissed off by that. Rightfully, they got rightfully pissed off by that because that was because Vitalik was being a hypocrite. That the code's not law anymore. Fuck that. I want to make $1 billion. But I kind of agree with. I see eye to eye with that, and I think is an attack really, is a successful crypto attack any more than just rightfully winning a bounty? for discovering a bug. I mean, if you don't want it to happen, find another way to raise the money, right? That's on you, man. That's on you guys. What do I care? Anyway, Brea 2 says, damn, should have played the Bitcoin Red Team song by Dick Greaser pre-show. Would have fit great. Oh, maybe you can pretend that it's playing. You just like sing along to it. Anyway, Mother Earth news, Mother Earth threats news from last week. Magnitude 7.4 earthquake. West Colombia, around the city of Cali. Not California, mind you. I was warning about Cali earthquakes, but this is the other Cali. Harmed some infrastructure. I heard that at least 20 died. I'm sure it was more. And then oddly, everyone went quiet about the earthquake because I guess no one cares about West Colombia. They're just like, whatever, it's a bunch of poor people. So I didn't hear. And also it wasn't as big as like, the Venezuela one or whatever. So in terms of damage and killing people. But whatever. Elsewise in Mother Earth threats last week. Bunch of wildfires in France. As there are, wildfires are a thing. They happen a lot. But in this case, the bludgies in France say that they nabbed hundreds of motherfuckers for starting fires. Hundreds. I think they cuffed like over 400, and at least 100 of them confessed. There was a bunch of minors in there too, which kind of makes you wonder what's going on there. But whatever. I mean, hey, that starting fires is fun. Like, I mean, don't you do that? I do that. I start fires. Not forest fires. Well, not that I can say anyway. Logistics news from last week. Did you hear there's not a lot of oil going through the Strait of Hormuz? Did you hear about that? Thought I'd let you know. The reporting bodies don't even report all the strikes on ships there anymore, but they are happening, and not many ships are getting through. Some folks in Oman have been trying to get oil around the blockades by getting it out from their shores, but it's not quite going off without a hitch because they still get shot too for doing that. And it's bad for oil and so forth. Bad for the oil supply and oil price go up and all that stuff. Number go up. Hey, why don't you buy a bunch of oil? There's an investment for you. Obviously, come on. Should have done it earlier this year, but don't worry, there's still money to make. Buy some barrels of oil. Still money to make on that. Baby Mandark Strait and the Red Sea threat levels keep going up slowly. They're not officially closing it. Not quite closing the baby mandibles straight, but the Saudis have been cutting their oil production in answer to this, which doesn't look too good. And there's that, because that's, it's another big water, sea choke point for moving stuff. Whatever. I'm tired of talking about it. Here's another, I don't care if you're tired about this. I'm going to do it again anyway. Here's another warning. There's a big energy crisis and overall economic crisis happening. Did you hear about that? It's not stopping. And the end consumers have not seen anywhere close to the worst of it. Wherever in the world you are, or you're going to be, you should be worried. You should be getting ready for things to get worse. And you should be getting ready yesterday. Do not wait for prices of anything to go down unless you're trading stocks or some shit. That ship has sailed, literally. Whatever you have now, whatever the prices are, work with that. Don't wait on stocking up on what you need. Do not be fooled by how long this economic disaster is taking to unfold and how long you've been warned about it. Your caveman brain is not built to understand things that take months or years to happen, besides the change of the seasons or whatever. And don't forget that the U.S. as well as other states have been draining their very big oil reserves, which has supplemented the worldwide oil supply and kept prices much lower than they otherwise should have been. Those chickens are coming home to roost fast, boss. This is the first time the U.S. reserve dropped below 300 million barrels since the 80s. The demand is maybe 30% higher now than it was then. So that trend has no end in sight. And guess what? The legal limit is they can drain it down to 252 million barrels. They're already almost there. They can break their own laws, of course. But which outcome is worse? I don't know. Funny thing is, they might have drained it this low a long time ago if they could have, but this is the state we're talking about. So, of course, they didn't bother to take care of their shitty old oil pumps, and now they don't even work right. So they can only pump at 61% speed. Maybe that's for the best. Furthermore, you can drain crude oil as fast as you want, but it's a whole other thing to ship it around and refine it. That's why you see diesel prices going up anyway. But the state's faggot oil reserves and the market manipulation don't mean much in the big picture. The market is much bigger than their little shell games. This month, the IEA, what does that stand for? International Energy Agency. They put out a report for this month, says the worldwide oil shortage is around 8% of the worldwide oil demand per day. Per day shortage is 8% of the worldwide demand. That's fucked. That's pretty bad, right? That means that, over 8 days, it's 80%, or of a day's demand or whatever. The plants are struggling to get, it's not just about just getting crude, any old kind of crude. There's different kinds of crude. That you need different kinds of crude to make the right petroleum products and the right amounts, different kinds of plants. 20% of international diesel trade's gone. In any case, no matter how you slice it, you can rest assured what's happening is real and very bad and can't be stopped. Very bad and can't be stopped. You have been warned. This isn't the first warning. Won't be my last either, but don't tune it out. Listen. Listen well. And fucking do what you need to do, as in right now. Okay, you're listening to this in your car. I don't care. Pull over your fucking Prius with its gas tank 1/4 full because you can't afford, and its dying battery made of rare earth metals that are about to be export restricted by the Chi-Coms again. Pull over that Prius, put it in your fucking 2-digit PIN to unlock your phone. They'll never guess that one. There's literally 100 possibilities. Open your fag phone. Pay no mind to the Sailor Moon ringtone that's going off right now. That's your mom asking you to pick up more chicken tendies for her to make you in the toaster oven tonight. And I know you already bought a few boxes. So just message her on SimpleX and yell at her for the umpteenth fucking time to message you instead of calling, which she's not going to listen to. She's going to call you again. And then open up fucking Marcor or whatever open source note-taking app you like and make some notes about whatever prepping shit you need to do. Make notes, set alarms, set calendar events, start planning and acting. Now, if you have put off anything, do it now. I don't care if you need to dig a hole in your mom's backyard with a shovel at night and slowly wheel away one wheelbarrow of dirt at a time so the neighbors don't hear it or find out what's happening. I don't care if the only year's worth of food you have enough cheese to shell out for is bags of bird seed. I don't give a shit. Suck it up. I don't care if you need to cut your hours at Steak and Shake and you won't be able to buy as many Funko Pop figures for the next few months. I don't care if you need to sell your Funko Pop figures. Gasp. Yes, that's fucking right. Grow up, get to work, get it done. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just pick the quickest, easiest, lowest cost way that you need to go with that works for you. Most bare bones shit you can scrape together. Be as lazy as you can be, but make it happen. Get ready. If you're cool enough to listen to this show, the world needs you alive and as geared up as you can be in like 5-10 years. So try to make sure that happens if you don't mind. Hold fast now to whoever you can trust and keep building your second realm networks. Better late than never. Crackdowns news. In Norman, Oklahoma, the city council unanimously turned down flock cameras over and over and over again. I think they did it like 9 times or something. So then the county sheriff and some faggot Karen HOAs brought them in anyway. And now it's up to the freelancers of Norman to take care of this hiccup, because no one else is going to help you. It's all on your hands to do something about this, boss. What's it going to be? The cameras are coming. Even if your faggot city council unanimously votes 9 times not to allow them, they're coming anyway. No one's going to do anything but you. It's this little thing called the use of force. You should try it sometime. It's called insurrectionary agorism. I wrote a manifesto about it. You might want to read it, because we're going to try and work out a payment. We're going to try and work out a way for you to get paid for destroying the cameras. But for now, you'll just start padding out your resume if you don't mind, and maybe sell the copper inside or something. Sell the parts. So the parts inside there are pretty expensive, I think. Elsewise in Crackdown's news, there's some hardcore facial recognition camera trial that was deployed at London subway stations by the Bludgies. That's cool. They just one day they just put up a bunch of signs that said, "Oh, by the way, your face is being scanned, and we're checking to see if you're a criminal or something." It was funny too, because I think they said something like they put out the numbers, and it was something crazy like 99.7% of the face prints they got were just innocent everyday Joes. So like it's kind of on its face, no pun intended, kind of seems like a failure. Like, oh, maybe the cost of this to people and their privacy is not good, and you're not actually doing anything with it. But of course, that's silly. That's silly. That would be a naive thing to say. Texas state, the state of Texas, froze motherless.com's domain, which is owned by a business from another country. And they froze it over some digital ID verification bullshit. That's interesting. If you don't know what motherless.com is, what are you doing listening to this show? You're not the kind of crowd we want around here. Motherless.com is an edgy porn website. It's been around for many years, so I'm kind of shocked that you don't know what that is. But it's owned by a fucking company from another country. But I guess and forgive me if I get this wrong, because I don't actually read these stories, mind you. I don't actually read them. Okay, but it seems like the Texas state, with they're trying to enforce their digital ID age verification bullshit on a foreign business, because I guess maybe it was even registered in Texas. Why are they doing this? But whatever. That was fun. And they gave them like a bond. They wanted a bond of like $9 million or something. I don't know what happened with that. I didn't read anymore, but that's good enough for me. That's good enough. I don't need to read about how well they backpedaled, because all I care about is the bad part that they did. That's all you need to know about. This is a show where we talk about threats, because even if they backpedaled it this time, next time they won't, and they're going to do worse, and they're going to do it more. That's how it works. So I'm telling you about the bad part. That's all I care about. South Korea is now letting courts go after so-called misinformation. So there you go. South Korea, perfectly nice country, lots of economic development, pretty cool spot. But the government, as usual, pretty wonky, pretty funny, pretty silly. And now now they can legally go after misinformation. Whatever the hell that is. It's whatever they decide it is, I guess. It's whatever they decide what the gospel truth is, and if you disagree, then you're in trouble. The Arizona state had a bill that would put the feds in charge of some age verification. So Arizona state not only trying to pass age verification stuff, but being huge faggots, not even trying to take the power for themselves, but bending over to the feds and saying, "Oh, FTC, you do it. You take charge of it for us." That's even worse. Yeesh. The Brazilian state has made VPN usage an aggravating factor in crimes and so forth. So if you do something illegal and you use a VPN, while you're doing it. That's now an aggravating factor. It makes it aggravated. It's a hate crime. It's a hate because you hate, you're discriminating against IP addresses or something. New Mexico state law, and this isn't, I don't even know how new this is. I only found out about it. But apparently there's a New Mexico state law that compels speech on AI satire. It seems that the Babylon Bee is trying to fight it in court, which is how I heard about it. I didn't even know the law was there. But there's a New Mexico state law that says if you make some AI satire, you have to say it at the end that, oh, this was a joke, by the way. Go fuck yourself. Elsewise, news corporations, a lot of them, a lot of news corporations. It's a new hot hip thing for news websites to hire Palantir to try to break their readers' anonymity and do hardcore analysis on their readership, try to work out who they are for innocent reasons, I'm sure. I'll put it to you this way. News is a dying business. As you, I mean, just listen to the news you're hearing right now. It's not very good, is it? Yeah, I don't like doing it either. It doesn't make me any money. It's stupid. All right. And I guess these guys feel the same way. So they're like, we got to make some money off this somehow. And they're going to tell you to your face that, oh, they're trying to get readership data for, like, I don't know, advertisement or to sell analytics to folks. But that's a very sly way of saying, you know, who are you selling the analytics to, right? Why are you picking a major, like, military contractor to do this? Because you're trying to sell the info to the national security surveillance complex, because the articles that someone reads on the news tells you how likely they are to be a dissident with certain opinions or whatever. Just pulling this out of my ass, just a little thought I had. Maybe that has something to do with it. It might make them a few bucks. You can't make a lot of money posting news on the internet. All the money's in propaganda. All the money's in propaganda and surveillance. People won't pay you to give them articles that they don't even believe are true because they know you're lying all the time. PSYOPs news. Disinfo peddler Colonel McGregor said that the Israeli state had a top general killed by the yogurt, by a strike they made on Tel Aviv. And Israel's top general was secretly killed, and they're covering it up. Just so you know, this Colonel McGregor guy, as is the case with most retired military officers who claim to have super secret insider information, like the guys that Alex Jones would talk to on InfoWars, most of them are full of shit. They're fucking lying. They're lying. You can tell just by listening to them talk. All right. But even if you couldn't, it's just a question of, like, can they verify what they're saying? How would you even come to know the thing that you're saying? That's not how it's done, folks. You don't just go, oh yeah, that story sounds like something that tweaks my values. It sounds like something that would be fun to believe in, matches up with the way I see the world. It's truthy. Okay, to use the old Stephen Colbert joke, it's got truthiness. It's got a truthiness to it. That's not how you do it, folks. That's not how you do it. You think critically. You see what the evidence. Is there any evidence? Do you even plausibly have a way of finding out this information? Do you even claim to? Fucking retired from being a colonel years ago? Go fuck yourself. Anyway, elsewise in PSYOPs, last week, the U.S. president said that the U.S. utterly controlled the Strait of Hormuz, like it's ours. It's very beautiful. We completely control it. That not a wave crashes on the shores that we didn't okay it. Like, I can only guess how funny the worried looks on faces of those in the press, the press in the room, what their faces look like when he was saying this. This claim is so shockingly out of touch that it's hard to say or at least it was hard to say last week, how much it was even a psyop or how much it was merely some kind of early episode of dementia or something. It's a very odd thing to say, but this story has a sequel when we get to this week's news, unfortunately. Elsewise, in last week's PSYOPs news, another dud bomb was found at a fire station in D.C. All smoke and no fire at this fire station. It's a pattern I've been documenting for many months now. It seems to be kind of a 2026 thing in America, that a dud bomb that had no way of even going off, that was never going to go off. Someone tried to do a terrorist attack with a bomb that had no chance of going off, and it didn't go off, and we found it, and sometimes we caught him. That happens a lot in 2026. All of a sudden in America. Just saying, I can't prove that they're all being, faked by like in some sort of coordinated way, but it just seems weird, right? So I'm gonna put it in PSYOPs until further notice. In intelligence and the lack thereof. In Italy, a plant that was making munitions and rocket propellant for the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers blew the fuck up. Big time. Blew the fuck up. A plant making weapons for a major war happening right now blew the fuck up. And that's in intelligence news. And I don't need to tell you why that is, because hey, we all know accidents happen. At industrial plants, accidents happen. But, look at it. Just look like, come on. What are the odds that that's not whatever they call the KGB nowadays? Half the time I forget what they call it. What are the odds that it's not them? In war news, which is brought to you by Agorist.market. You want to find some goods and services in the counter economy? How about putting your own business in front of thousands of Agorist eyeballs? Well, you can't go too wrong with one of the oldest, most well-known online second-round business directories in the world, boss. All you got to do is jack into the Matrix, the Shadowrun one, not the Wachowski trainees one, and surf the World Wide Web on over to Agorist.market. Make lucre, not war. A somewhat worrying trend in U.S. military security has emerged. Warning, listen to this. Warning, this is funny, but it's worrying. So you might want to listen to this one and not tune it out, because it's kind of worrying. All right. A new trend in U.S. military security. Last week, the U.S. Trident, is that what you call them? The U.S. Trident? Something like that. The U.S. Trident last week was seen playing golf with a surface-to-air missile defense system beside him in fucking New Jersey. Now, if a guy like that is fucking going to New Jersey, of all things, to play golf, the world's topsy-turvy already. But playing golf with a missile defense system is the cherry on top. And maybe they should just kill two birds with one stone and install the missile defense system into the golf cart. Then it goes with them to every hole. You don't need to transport it separately. Hell, install a golf ball dispenser and one of those little things that one of those little nets you can hit a golf ball into, and it tells you how far the golf ball would have gone and stuff. The whole 9 yards. You could call it like Golf Cart 1 and pass it down to the next U.S. Resident. This is on top of him being followed around all the time by airborne warning and control systems aircraft for the last few months. I don't even know if the guy knows that that's happening. I don't even know if they told him that, by the way, we have airborne warning system planes following you around everywhere you go. I don't know if they even told him that. And now they're parking missile defense systems by him at the golf course in America. This is happening. Now, who can say for sure why the state does things? The state is very weak and foolish, and it does wrong things all the time. The state also tries to trick folks all the time by doing weird shit. And these things are like breathing to the state. If it stopped doing them, it would die. But this is something worth worrying about, and it should not be taken lightly. Now, I couldn't care less about the U.S. Peroxidant or whatever they call him. He's not a highly tactical target. Of course, and I mean, I wouldn't even do him the honor of trying to kill him. He's not a tactical target. Of course, another state killing the presiderant in their homeland with a fucking missile would be a very diplomatic, a very big diplomatic incident and a media circus, to put it very lightly. But to me, what's way more worrying than all that, and also kind of thrilling and cool, if I'm being upfront, is the hinted acknowledgement by the U.S. military that the U.S. president could be assassinated with a missile from a nation state in America. Or should I say assassinated with something? Assassinated with something. That it could happen seems to be what they're hinting at. That there's a perhaps elevated likelihood of it happening. You want to hear my bet about what kind of attack they're worried about? Can you guess what I'm going to say, boss, and why I find it so thrilling? Let's put our thinking caps on for a second, if you don't mind doing so. I know thinking caps aren't the most fashionable clothing these days, but if we put our thinking caps on for a second, you mind the fashion faux pas, the fashion police. You might it might occur to you that an intercontinental ballistic missile is not likely going to get to New Jersey to kill the presiderant from fucking Russia or China or something. Not likely to happen. Not even likely to happen from a boat in the water. Might not even happen from a satellite if there's some sort of, namely if there's some sort of secret HARP missile defense systems. If they had that, actually, even the thing they parked beside him probably wouldn't save him. I'm thinking what they are worried about is, can you guess what I'm going to say? It's drones. It's drones. They're the only thing they could be worried about, I think. And I didn't see anyone saying this, which is kind of odd. I feel like it's in your face, right? They must be worrying about Operation Spiderweb type. They must be worrying about a spiderweb attack, that drones are snuck close to the target, sneaky, going all the way past your missile defense systems, and then right nearby they're deployed to hit the target. That's what they got to be thinking, right? And I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Because ever since the first spiderweb attack happened out in the open, now it was like a year and a half ago or something, that changed the world. I told you here on the show right when it happened. I'm like, this changed the world. You're going to see this happen a number of times over the 21st century.
Trust me.
This is war.
You don't want to go down this road with me.
I do want to go down this road. I like drones. I think they empower the little guy more than the big guy, and that's what's so thrilling about this. We all know the thing. Now, look, who gives a shit about the presiderant, okay, of the United States? What's really cool is what they did with the first spiderweb attack when they took down billions of dollars worth of fucking B-52 bombers in Russia that were like old as shit. They were around for like 100 years, and it's just like poof, gone. And it cost a few $1 million. You know, hell yeah, that's what they're worried about, because now anyone can do that. And that's why I like this. That's why I find it thrilling. But at the same time, it's kind of worrying too, in a way. But hey, maybe we can just maybe if someone assassinates the presiderant with some drones or something, maybe we can just kind of act like it's not a big deal, like it's the new normal. Like maybe we could just do that. Maybe not. Who knows? You never know. You never know with these guys. They seem pretty capable of making the sheeple think things are normal. Anyway, U.S. weapons shortages as bad as ever. There's no covering that up. The U.S. attempts to cover it up are too little too late. Some have wondered why the Chi-Coms don't make the most of this by hitting Taiwan ahead of schedule. Now, this is kind of a serious point because, when we're talking about the Chi-Coms invading Taiwan, we're talking about maybe triggering World War III. So, and it's going to happen sooner or later.
It's either just a crack in the driveway or the Chinese are making their move.
Thank you. That was good. That was a good selection. So yeah, I think it's worth talking this over and talking about why I think it won't happen, hopefully. So here's the game. The Chi-Coms are very close to Taiwan, and that's good for them. Whereas the U.S. can't bring a carrier strike group, an aircraft carrier, too close to there, or else they will get fucking raped. So U.S. aircraft carrier would have to be refueled. The U.S. aircraft would have to be refueled in the air by tanker aircraft because the aircraft carrier has to be farther away. And of course, this complicates things because then the tanker aircraft have to be shielded from attacks themselves. It's not great, but it can work. So with the U.S. carrier strike group that far away, the Chi-Coms have one noteworthy way of hitting them, which is a land-based anti-ship missile that goes way faster than the speed of sound, and they fly very, very high up, and then they come back down. It's not easy to intercept, but it's not as good as the Russian ones. And the U.S. warning systems are good enough that they may well fire early enough to intercept them at the right time, which is before atmospheric reentry. But those interceptor missiles, boss, that the U.S. could use are kind of running out, as you may know. It's hard to say how much they are running out, for sure. And in any case, the Chi-Coms are very green behind the ears when it comes to war. Their jarheads have not put in the reps with their new gizmos or in a fight with any true superpower military. They have no experience. That likely adds to the Chi-Coms' unsureness about what to do, and they are a careful lot already as it is, at least next to the Western globalists and the post-Soviet globalists. Of course, the Taiwanese state has its own interceptors, which may also give the Chi-Coms some pause, but it's hard to say how well those will work, namely against these shiny new missiles the Chi-Coms have, which do those Tony Hawk's high-score skateboard tricks at the last second to slip past interceptors. And the Taiwanese Patriot missiles, of course, come from the U.S., so no new ones are on their way anytime soon if they burn them all. Anyway, so the picture that paints so far is that it looks like it would be a good time for the Chi-Coms to invade Taiwan early, but there's this niggling little feeling that you have in your gut that it might somehow not be a good play. And then when you think a little harder, you see where that feeling comes from. Submarines, dude. It's the submarines. The U.S. has a subfleet that can get close, and they could be very bad for Chi-Com ships. If the U.S. truly cared a lot about defending Taiwan, they could blow up the fucking ships of guys trying to invade Taiwan, boots on the ground, before they even get there with their submarines. And the Chi-Coms are very far behind on defenses against underwater threats like submarines. This is why I think the Chi-Coms are likely not leaning towards attacking early, because I think they want it to go right when they do. And there are too many unknowns already as it is. Let's hope I'm right as well, because the later the invasion of Taiwan happens, the better, because it has a very fair likelihood of starting World War III in earnest now, though it could still end up being something else that does that, like Korea. And let's hope that's true too, I guess. I love Taiwan, it's a cool spot. I wish them the best. But frankly, the best case might well be that the US leaves them in the lurch when they're invaded and doesn't help them too much. I once thought that they would do that, but now I'm not so sure. So who knows? Still kind of feels like World War III is likely to kick off next year at the earliest. Fingers crossed, I guess. Rayo2 says, the Taiwanese are wonderful people. I don't know if they are or not. Never been there. Nonsense comment. Of course they are. Pretty much all peoples are wonderful. The issue is mostly just the state. Even the fucked up ones are wonderful in their own way. Shadowrun. Shadowrun. You ever heard of Shadowrun, boss? I might get interrupted by the break, but that's fine. Shadowrun is like a tabletop RPG from like the 90s, which is like a fantasy sci-fi tabletop RPG where like a magical comet landed on Earth and like turned some people into elves and orcs, and also there's magic now. But also it's like a left-winger's idea of a dystopian future where mega corporations control everything instead of governments. But they are governments, really, but we call them corporations. And because the corporations can't legally go to war with each other without being sued, which is funny because that's kind of utopic in a way, they say that. But because of that, they have to wage war with plausible deniability through secret freelance agents, which are called Shadowrunners. And generally you're playing Shadowrunners in Shadowrun. Anyway, so that's something like that's happening now. Because the US has signed an executive order privatizing cyber warfare as I speak, where like they're like, okay, cyber warfare is going to be done by corporations now, and in the US, and go, you can do it whenever you want, go. And it's, I can't wait to see what happens, because like, oh man, I can't wait until Facebook becomes a valid military target. You know, I mean, hey, to me, Facebook was already a valid military target. Okay, I was already they were already in my crosshairs, but I can't wait till they're also in everybody else's too. So that's fun. I guess, I mean, hey, you can do the break now. This is a good moment to do it. You can do it faster. So there's going to be a break. The robots will tell jokes and there'll be ads and so forth. And then afterwards, I will come back with my guest, Pika Thane, and I will do more news for 2 weeks.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
While infrastructure costs for the PAZNIA Radio Network aren't exorbitant now, there are some costs. It will also increasingly demand more time as we move towards longer transmissions and more transmissions. If you'd like to help cover current costs and even the expansion of our efforts, please visit PAZNIA.com/shop. There, you can make a one-time fiat, Bitcoin, or Monero donation. You can become a stakeholder, and you can even order some one-of-a-kind PAZNIA merch, ranging from shirts to hats to flags, all the way to beach towels. Again, that link at PAZNIA.com/shop. Cheers from the Free Republic.
Now that the technological foundation is laid for the PAZNIA Radio Network, We are now ready to start building out a regular, and more frequent transmission schedule of self-liberational media. Do you want to host your own show on the PAZNIA radio network? Do you already have a show or podcast that you would like premiered or replayed during our transmissions? Something else? Reach out to Coordinator Rayo to discuss details. Email coordinator@PAZNIA.com. Again, coordinator@PAZNIA.com. See you in the second realm.
Hello, Freedom Pioneers! Billy Mays here. Are you tired of big tech tracking your every click? Are you sick of algorithms deciding what you see? Are you bored of Netflix subscriptions that cost a kidney and Spotify ads that last longer than the song? I know you are, because I'm fucking bored just thinking about it. But I have the solution: infrastructure. So powerful, so private, so decentralized, it will crack the concrete of censorship. It's the brand new PAZNIA library. That's right. It's a free to-use privacy-friendly decentralized combination of Netflix, Spotify, and your digital book app, and it's live right now. Check it out. We've got the full HBO documentary, The Anarchist, with Jason Henza and Miranda Webb. We've got the legendary Bill Cooper documentaries. We've got Alongside Night, Libertarian Fiction, and Eyes Wide Shut, which, let me tell you, is basically nonfiction. And wait, there's more. We've got Trailer Park Boys. We've got Sky Huddleston's Second Realm Speed Dating, and music streaming is coming soon. Plus, a digital book library is on the way. Terabytes of content, more to upload. We have the beginnings of true media freedom, an infrastructure base with many, many potentialities. I'm Billy Mays, and I'm always here to help you take back your media. Visit lbry.paznia.com. Again, lbry.paznia.com to start streaming today. Billy Mays, signing off to go binge watch Firefly. Over and out.
Go General WILLY2 here with an important message regarding food, health, and wellness. Sometimes the high-quality PAZNIA wheat, grass, and other forages just don't do it for me. Sometimes I need a change. In those cases, there's only one decision. Me and my closest compatriots bleat that slow bleat for a few hours until we arrive at the local Steak and Shake. When we get there, it's like clacking right into heaven. I get up to the order booth. Double steak burger and fries, extra spicy, with one of them glass bottle Mexican Cokes. Little one sexy ass walks up and orders some nonsense like 2 orders of fries and mozzarella sticks. The best thing about it? It's not like I'm cheating on my pure beast goat diet. They'll use the highest quality grass-fed meat, tallow, and you can pay in Bitcoin. Steak and Shake didn't pay me to make this recording. I just think more goats should know where to go for a good and healthy time. Unofficially on behalf of Steak and Shake. Go eat Steak and Shake. It's goatlicious.
And now, back to Cloak and Dagger with host Thane Riddle.
Alright, this is news. I didn't even finish the first week. Alright? I finished the first hour and not the first week. It's a good thing this week's news is more rushed. So anyway, we're in fucking war news from last week. Here's your whole show is going to be news. I hope you like it. This is literally the worst part of the show is going to be the whole show. It's happened before. May happen again. And now we shall discuss upon the hamburger hegemony against the yogurt union. Last week, same old boring war stuff. But 2 of the strikes on oil tankers in the Strait of Hummus led to 2 oil spills covering hundreds of square miles of Omani waters and the shores of Keshem Island. Lots of, ducks were found covered in oil. No one knew there were ducks in the Strait of Hummus, but there were ducks, and there was Dawn dish soap, cleaning them and all that stuff. Airdropped. There was Dawn dish soap was airdropped from bombers from all sides, because everyone can get together behind that. It was a beautiful moment, and then the war was back on, more boring than ever. And the least boring thing that happened last week in the Strait of Hummus was it seems that the yogurt union hit a couple ships with its first claimed submarine drones, which is pretty fucking cool. We're even swapping out torpedoes for drones now. What's next? We're going to swap out bullets for drones? What are we going to do? Shoot little micro drones out of your gun or something? Anyway, the sub-drone strikes were not far from the Iranian shore, and it seems likely they don't have much more range than that, but nonetheless, it's pretty darn cool. When can we get our hands on some sub-drones? I know submarines are hard to build, but I, for one, think that we need to look way more at shallow depth submarine technology. I mean, shallow subs are way easier to build than the deep water full subs, you know. For it to be a sub, it just got to be submersed, right? It just got to be under the water. It doesn't have to be like way far under the water. It's not that hard to build one. Drug smugglers build shallow subs out of fucking duct tape, pretty much. To like move coke from Cuba or something. So can't be that hard. So yeah, maybe we should do like shallow sub drones. That could be cool. That could be pretty darn cool, actually. Hey, where's all the like amphibious drones? You know what we need? We need like a goose drone. Okay, it's like an agorist thing, right? Because there was that podcast Unloose the Goose, which was an agorist podcast. So the goose is black and gray, so it's like an agorist symbol. The goose can go anywhere: water, land, air. So we need like a goose drone, okay? Insurrectionary agorist goose drone that can like go underwater, on the surface of the water. It can go on the ground, and it can fly. That can't be that hard to make, man. You could make that yourself. That could be like a Raspberry Pi project that you post on a website or something. It can't be that hard. It's pretty cool. Anyway, you do it. I don't want to do it. You do it. Maybe I'll do it later. Yogurt Union promoted 6 new young bucks to the rank of commander. And guess what kinds of guys they are? That's right. A flock of warhawks that want to keep fighting forever, baby, which is what all signs are pointing to, fighting forever. In other war funnies, a U.S. aircraft carrier that's been away from port for over 8 months has caught an awful case of the anheroes, as it seems a handful of jarheads aboard have been caught trying to fucking kill themselves, which the U.S. has, of course, tried to cover up. They lied about it and said that it wasn't true and it wasn't happening. Nonetheless, they also seem to freak the fuck out, and they took the hint from the jarheads trying to kill themselves, and they wasted no time in sending another carrier strike group to swap them out with, so these guys can fucking get a break or something, or at the very least kill themselves somewhere else where they don't have to mop the floors. And the Houthis were still kicking up dust in southern Saudi Arabia. They hit the Jazan refinery again. They hit another ship in the Babun Adeb Strait. Fight between the faggot kitty fucker Saudi royals and the Houthis then started to get a bit messier and a little more soap opera like. See, before there was a strike on a Yemeni town called Mocha. I'm sure you say that like Mocha or something, but Mocha matches up too well with my food theme, so I'm going to say Mocha. Everybody thought the strike on Mocha was the Saudi state, who, struck Mocha or whatever. But it turned out that it was the Houthis themselves who struck Mocha because they were actually hitting the bit that's still under the thumb of the old Yemeni state, which is outcast from the capital region, but not, gone. And they were killing some Saudi state advisors working within the old Yemeni state. So anyway, these Game of Thrones cosplayers up in Saudi Arabia doubled down and sent a midget dressed up as Tyrion, and you got to hand it to him. Tyrion is one of the best Game of Thrones characters for sure. So they sent a Tyrion cosplayer down to Yemen to fork over some more dough and some gear to the old Yemeni state, which has been outcast, as I said, from the so-called capital region. Now, that's not a crazy new thing because the Saudi state has been backing the old Yemeni state for forever. That's kind of a big reason why people didn't like them and overthrew them. So yeah, the Western forces are ramping up the backing of the old Yemeni state. Here's hoping for their sake that the Game of Thrones cosplaying stops short when it comes to arming them, because they're going to look pretty silly wearing full plate armor and wielding two-handed swords in that weather this time of year in that climate. Oh yeah. And then the Houthis hit another Saudi refinery near some city called Najran, spurring the Saudi state to answer with more of its own strikes, blah, 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 boring war stuff. Hey, next time someone starts waxing poetic about the fucking League of Nations or whatever, and how great it would be to have more interstate cooperation, don't forget that the only thing that the states all around the world could see eye to eye on was that they should all utterly fucking blow up the whole world's energy and transportation infrastructure at the same time. Well, that's the only thing they could see eye to eye on besides like the overall killing and extorting and oppressing of everybody inside their own countries and also in each other's countries, but that's a given. Elsewise, in last week's war news, Ruski State's KGB figurehead, kind of a handsome guy, likes to ride horses shirtless, apparently, takes a last-minute trip to the Kuril Islands to gently twist the Japanese state's arm and low-key threaten them. The history there, in case you want another boring history lesson, is the Kuril Islands are kind of disputed territory between the Russian state and the Japanese state. The Japanese state kind of forked it over to the Russian state once upon a time, but now that they want to Indian give it, they want it back, and they dispute the legality of that. And the Russian state decided to take a surprise trip to the Kuril Islands to say, hey, what's going on? They basically filmed a, you know how on Mr. Rogers, he'll go to the local factory, he'll go to a factory to show the kids at home how things are made. And hey, you can get a solid blue collar job working at a factory. It's actually kind of a cool thing. Mr. Rogers was an amazing show. So yeah, they did that. They went to like a fish factory, and they were like, "Hey, what's going on? What's the deal with all those sanctions you guys got on Russia? We got no problem with Japan, and also we're very close to you, and we're very big and strong. Just wanted to remind you of that." That's basically what that was. And then there was a leak last week, and this one's kind of funny. Some newly bought water drones, some that the UK bought, have Chi-Com backdoors in them. That's pretty much it. So there was a big old wave of water drones that the UK bought, and they have parts in them from China that phone home and might be backdoored or something, could at least be used for surveilling them, which is pretty funny. I mean, how do you do that? Like, how do you fuck up secret cutting edge water drone military program that badly, like by using some shit from Alibaba inside it. Like, how do you do that? Like, what the? That's pretty funny, but whatever. And I think the UK like denied it, but also while denying it, like created an emergency audit or something. So like they're obviously lying. Next, elsewise, finally, fucking last week's fucking news. There was yet another silly little drone from the Ukraine-Russia thing that wandered off into yet another nearby country. This time it was a Ukrainian Nazi CIA nigger drone wandering off into Latvia, getting shot down. Whatever. This is such an everyday thing that happens so many times now that no one cares anymore. It used to be a juicy thing, like, whoa, a Russian drone went into another Baltic country. And, you know, like it used to be kind of sexy, but now it's like, now it's the new normal. So they're like, whatever. And it wasn't even Russian. So, meanwhile, elsewise on to, I guess, shit to do with the Ukraine-Russia thing. I mean, what is there to say there? You know, there's no Patriots coming to the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers. The U.S. dangled the carrot of, yeah, maybe we're gonna give you more Patriot missiles. We're gonna give you more Patriot missiles later. And I mean, now they don't even have them. Now they're running out. So obviously that's not happening. Of course, that's not going to stop the U.S. poking the bear more by passing more sanctions on Russia, which I believe they did last week again. Oh yeah, and also last week, the Ruski state put out a threat hinting that if anybody tries to take a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker, if anybody tries to, you know, board and steal a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the Black Sea or whatever, they will answer in kind by taking European ships. And they bragged about how they're tracking and spying on all the European ships, and they know where they are and their routes. Another low-key, cool, vodka-scented threat for you. And now finally, this week's news. Kill me now. In this week's news, digital news, brought to you by Jam & Biconic's Ghost Devices at libertyunderattack.com/Thane. Digital news. There's this shit that we found out about called XMR Pod. All right. You're going to like it. You're going to like it. Now, I don't know if you know what Antenna Pod is. There's an open source podcast app for Android called Antenna Pod. It's pretty old. It's been around years and years. Well, the XMR chat guy forked it, and he made a slightly different version of it called XMR Pod. That has the podcast tracking and listening features of Antenna Pod, but it also lets you tip XMR and send super chats to podcasters who are on XMR chat from within XMR Pod. So pretty cool, pretty fucking cool. Yeah, it's kind of like Fountain, how you can give lightning to podcasters, but it's Monero. So it's kind of like that. And how it works is the creator, the podcast creator, who has an XMR chat page, just adds the podcast RSS feed link to their XMR chat page somehow. And then the XMR Pod client grabs a daily updated list of public creators from the centralized XMR chat server. XMR chat is open source software. Anyone can host an XMR chat server, but pretty sure XMR Pod just uses the one xmrchat.com server. I feel like it has potential for being a little more decentralized, which I'd like to talk to that guy about, even though he sounded like he was in a beach bathroom the last time he was on my show. But yeah, Rayo2 says, yep, stream us Monero, please. Yeah, that's right. I guess so. Yeah, I guess we have added the podcast RSS feed to our XMR chat page. So I guess XMR Pod would work for us, right? I don't know. So fucking, yeah, your XMR pod client downloads the list of all the public creators so that you can search it offline on your device, right? So this is for privacy reasons. And if you open the tip form, it does fetch a Monero price data from somewhere. So that's one minor privacy thing, but not a big deal. And then you can send a tip and a super chat or whatever through the XMR chat. And the only tracking data that is sent with XMR Pod is it says it came from XMR Pod. So I guess that's so xmrchat.com can see how much of the tips and stuff are coming from XMR Pod so they can clock how much it's being used and shit, which is cool, I guess, but it would kind of be nice to have a setting to turn that off. Maybe someone doesn't want to leak that they're using XMR Pod. I don't know. You can get XMR Pod on F-Droid if you're kind of gay or you just want it to be easy. But if you're cool or a little bit nerdy and you're like, and you kind of know why F-Droid sucks and how you should use like Obtainium instead, and you don't mind that you have to fuck around with it a little bit to just paste the GitHub link into Obtainium. It's because it's released on GitHub, so you can do that instead if you want to be cool. As for other digital news from this week, I'm sure there is some, but I didn't check. I ran out of time. So maybe you'll get it some other week if you're lucky. Logistics news from this week. American diesel prices go up more. Also, the U.S. the U.S. declares economic war on the Iranian yogurt, whatever the fuck that means. What if so? I don't know, what effect does that have on logistics, if any? Aren't they already doing that? Whatever. Crackdowns news from this week. There's some more heat, more juicy stories that keep coming to do with flock cameras and Axon camera sensor suites and so forth. It just keeps coming. I can't possibly read every story to do with flock and Axon cameras and sensors. I mean, for one, the hardware that they're putting out for these things is getting better and better. They're getting more and more hardware features, more and more sensors. The AI is getting better. So they're getting worse, to put it in other words. And as you heard from last week's story, they're being pushed pretty hardcore, even being pushed illegally. And they don't care. They don't care at all how much pushback there is against them. They'll just put them there anyway. It's like a bully mentality thing of, well, you're just going to take it, right? If I do this, you're just going to roll over, right? And you will. Most of you will. I guess one little story I can give you because it's kind of funny. Another, bludgies are getting in shit a lot now for misusing flock cameras and shit. But this story was kind of funny. It was a bludgie got nabbed because his drug dealer friend said, "Hey, can you check can you check the flock database for this car, for this license plate to see if that's an elite, if that's an undercover cop that's trying to, and the bludgy friend of the drug dealer was like, sure." And he ran it, and it was an undercover cop. So he's like, oh, watch out, good instincts, but he's retarded. I mean, just so you know, if you're a bludgy trying to tip off criminals about other bludgies, I commend you, but you got to be careful because it's not private. The way the searches you're making on the system aren't private. They can see that you're doing it and stuff, and that might come back to you. It might not, but it might. So there you go. I'm gonna read fan mail because I'm a little bored of news. I'm gonna read fan mail and come back to this crap. Oh God, What have I done? Now I am become Crowbar, destroyer of cars. Did I read that stuff before? This is stuff I saved. Did I read about that before? Sparrow map. Reverse Uno card. Scans license plate, logs all government vehicles' locations on open map, discards private citizen vehicles. Maybe this came from last week or something. GitHub.com/sparrow map again. Yeah, that's cool. Scans license plate and logs all government vehicles' locations on open map, discards private citizen vehicles. I'm into that, man. Big time. I like that kind of stuff. Big time. It's not the only project like that. And we need more of that. We need more of that. Something I've brought up a few times is like, how hard would it be for us to triangulate like police transmissions using a few transmitters placed in various sundry spots around? Wouldn't be that hard. Wouldn't be that hard. And you can take that and you can take this Sparrow map stuff and you can just throw it all on fucking Ridester? I'm gonna, or is it Roadster? It's Roadster. Roadster, the Noster map thing where you can put little warnings on it and stuff. A Jiraj Bednar project. Yeah, man. Let's integrate it all. You could also kind of feed information from multiple sources too. Some AI and have it sort of make some sense of it all. Stitch it together. Connect the dots for me. Trick different. This AI generated pattern hides you from surveillance cameras, including flock, and it shows a picture of a car covered in a. I feel like I did bring that up before because I made the joke about Ricky using the or wait, did I write that? There's a joke about where Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, I wrote that in the chat. Right, I want to see Ricky from Trailer Park Boys make these really loud, colorful patterns on a car out of garbage as a PAZNIA story time thing, and he thinks that it makes the car invisible. Now I am become Crowbar, the destroyer of cars. I wear burqa. That works. That's a good idea. You should wear burqa if you're a woman. Oh yeah, I went on a long autistic rant about because a guy was saying something in the PAZNIA radio chat about the wiping your phone, your device, whatever, graphene phone or whatever it is, with a duress passphrase. And they came up with just put a duress passphrase pin on your business card or in your notes or something, and they'll find it and use it themselves, and maybe you won't get in trouble. But they didn't think that was ironclad. But yeah, there was some obvious stuff. It's funny because I brought up that story on my show, but I didn't say the obvious stuff. So like the first obvious thing is because I'm not the only privacy consultant to say this. You can just back up your data like remotely or something, or on some fucking device that will be mailed ahead of you or whatever, and then you can factory reset your phone and just bring it through. You can let them search it. It doesn't really matter anymore, and then you can just get the data back later on the other side. That's one straightforward way. And then I went on an autistic rant about all kinds of stuff you could do, like you might want to flash stock Android back on the phone because Graphene OS looks weird, or if you're fucking, or the easiest method in a way, because backups and factory resetting and restoring a backup, that's a pain, man. That's not fun. And so you can not do that, which is nice, and also be more paranoid, more secure at the same time by simply taking the whole sensitive device and mailing it ahead, and then just bringing either no device with you or bringing some decoy devices you don't even give a crap about, and then whatever, you can throw it out or something if you want. Because like if you're really paranoid, if you're super paranoid, or you have an advanced threat model, then the bludgies even having your phone means it's burned because you don't know what they did to it and you can't trust it. So if you're really paranoid or you have a very hardcore threat model, then that's the way to go. And it's kind of nice because, like, if you just mail the device ahead, then you don't have to do anything. You just pick it up again. You can even put it in some tamper evident packaging and shit like that. Yeah. Of course, there's no beating starting a new device fresh if you're really trying to cut all ties. New tip from Thought Crime Boss. Yo, Thane, the show is good, but I can't listen to it in public or I will get canceled. I think you can now get arrested in the UK for simply sharing a link to Cloak and Dagger. I would surely hope so. I mean, if you can't get arrested in the UK for this, then I'm really doing something wrong, because you get arrested in the UK for much less. So I would surely hope so. But yeah, that's thank you for lying and saying the show is good and giving me more money. You're a very generous Stock Crime Boss. New tip from Anon. Trying out XMR Pod. That's the message. Well, thank you for trying out XMR Pod. I take it that it worked because we got that. So there you go. You can apparently you can use XMR Pod to send us XMR now. If you want, you can do it that way. Is it all that better? Is it I don't know. Sounds cool. So maybe you should try it. I don't know. It's whatever. Let's see what other crap has been posted here. Man, which version of this chat is better for me to read? Where I'll miss less messages. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Did anyone... Oh yeah, you know what? The Thane thing, the Pikachu dancing thing. I just want to say, anybody remember Pikachu Dance? There were websites. There were websites back in the day, all right? Long time ago. You'd go to a website and it would just be full of animated GIFs of like Pikachu dancing, and that was Pikachu Dance. What the boomers really liked was the dancing baby. They loved that. But dancing baby is fucking dumb. Pikachu Dance is way better. I was always a big fan of Pikachu Dance, so. But I do think Raichu is a better fit for me. I also think I'm really more like a Gengar or Mewtwo because I'm superior to all and powerful. But whatever, Pikachu's good. Pikachu's good too. I do like Pikachu Dance. Yeah, and I do want to be a VTuber. I do want to eventually have a virtual avatar because I don't have a physical body anyway. I'm a wraith anyway, so it's just as good as anything. Did any of you guys actually post anything in here that would be not too excruciating for me to? This is going to be an insane show. It's Thane-tastic. Thane. Is the IQ dropping in this chat or what? Here we go. Comment. Well, here I am playing part of the commenting audience again. Also, can somebody please also write some more comments? I like hearing Thane read stuff that is not mine. I know, hard to believe. It's like an egg. You don't know what inside until someone reads it. Well, usually it is a chicken or rotten, but you know, metaphor or so. Show specific comment. Seeing hackers as pen testers is stoic AF based. I see rape as pen testing, but that joke must be old. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, hey, it's not far off from like the victim blaming thing. You know, where like because like if you like look at rape statistics, like in America or something, not like in India or something. It's maybe in India you really do get randomly raped in the streets or something, but in America it was something like most rapes are like either A, happening to a girl that's like in an abusive, and I mean, let's be real, most rapes are happening to children, right? Most rapes are actually child molestation, and that's underreported. But like most rapes of adults are like either someone who's in an abusive relationship or has an abusive ex that they, chose to stay with and involve themselves with. I mean, like there's a whole like mental illness and dynamic. I mean, like everyone, a lot of people have fucked up relationships, so how can you point fingers, right? But everyone's kind of fucked up. But that's a thing where like you stay with someone who hits you or whatever. Like there's a whole thing. There's something going on with you if you're like that. And then the other one is it's a unconscious rape. An unconscious rape is actually very common, and like the vast majority of unconscious rape victims are getting drunk and high around strangers and like passing out at parties and stuff. So like it's kind of hard not to victim blame in rape. And like the ones who say, oh, girls shouldn't dress in revealing clothing, that may be the case, but that doesn't actually get you raped. Statistics says that doesn't actually get you raped, but the other stuff does. The abusive, being around abusive, getting involved with abusive guys and passing out drunk and high around in random frat houses all the time, that stuff does get you raped. And I think a little victim blaming might be in order there. So yeah, I do think it's kind of a service to the community when you think about it, to see if you can rape people and then like publish a little report about it afterwards. Anyway, comment on behalf of all of us who are too scared to call in. Yes, talk guns, talk babe napping. Yes, hardware voice changers are great. You can put 3 in series to make sure they do not stop working or so. IDK, 1 for your ear and 1 for your mouth, maybe. Fun fact. You mean so you can't hear what other people's voices sound like? Fun fact, when you look at basic data from research, it appears that the universe is made from candy. That's one of my favorite jokes from you in a while. Question for privacy related show. Candy universe theory. That's the official theory, scientific official fringe theory of Cloak and Dagger. Candy universe theory. Question for privacy related show. Does Steak and Shake support hard to understand ASCII jokes? Probably not. Also, I was scanning my Apple iMac system with anti-malware 13, outdated and free version from 2013, and it discovered a file called notajew.exe. I was surprised. Also, does cannabis help against headache? I mean, the THC or the other stuff that's in it. Not a joke question. Sorry for a not privacy question. I mean, I've heard, a lot of folks like to drum up CBD. CBD is so good. CBD cures everything. I think it is anti-inflammatory and stuff, but like, I think it needs more research. Really, I think folks are just like, they think weed is good for you because it's like cool to think that, and that's really biased, folks. Rayo2 says terpenes are the big part. Terpenes are a funny word for essential oils. Yes, the entourage effects and a lot of the medical benefits. So that's, in other words, it's aromatherapy. Is because terpenes are pretty much just essential oils. Some of the same ones you find in cannabis are like in fucking whatever, fucking lavender or some shit. But whatever. Comment. I wonder if one of the secret weapons is a functioning orbital ballistic rod weapon. Would be cool. Maybe we can drop rods from drones. So yes, kinetic weapons dropped from satellites in space is a real thing. And they do exist, and they are there. It's pretty secret stuff. They try not to hint too hard at where they are and everything about them, but it is pretty much known that they exist. We maybe in World War III we might see them. They're trying to keep some cards up their sleeve. for when it counts, saving it for when it counts. But yeah, that's a thing, and it's way better than like you can bust a bunker, an underground. You'll have a much better shot at an underground bunker with that than hitting it with a nuke or something. Like it's next gen stuff. I don't know if they're ballistic though. They're mostly just kinetic. Weapon. It's just some heavy shit and they drop it from real high up. Can you drop something from a drone? I mean, yeah. Why not? It's not going to be as good as dropping something from space. But hey, hawks drop turtles to break their shells, so it's got to be worth something. Comment sequel to last week. I am pleased that you correctly credited me with inventing Cubes OS, which I did. Yeah, you did. The fact that it shocked you is understandable, since I would be stunned if I met the inventor of Cubes, which is myself, of course. In fact, I was more thinking maybe something like, is it useful to emulate all FOSS systems like Androidish, FreeDOS, OpenPTSD, etc. in VMs for some security or fingerprinting thing, for the sake of emulating those specific FOSS OSs I mentioned? This is why I asked Androidish, FreeDOS, etc. Is there a reason to do Cubes but for specific OSs in general, or do we just run a bunch of Linuxes in Cubes? Like, does it make sense to use a specific one, or just be boring and run Debian's or Ubuntu? My ass Ubuntu. LOL. My ass Ubuntu. LOL. Like, I mean, running OpenPTSD may not be used by as many people as Debian. I once read that OpenBSD has almost 5 to 6 users. I hope the new clearer prompt goes through this time. Yes, for using OpenBSD for your laptop, for a workstation, that's 5 to 6. That's 5 to 6 guys, and I've met them. They're very cool and weird. But it is used a lot for like routers and shit. Like banks and shit will use, like, if you need something that's just security through simplicity, security through minimalism. Nobody has a better track record than OpenBSD, though Alpine Linux is kind of like that too. So Cubes, for the most part, the way folks use Cubes is just to use some Linux stuff on it, and mostly what you use on Cubes is Debian, Unix, and maybe Fedora. And that's like the default stuff that comes with it. And most folks just stick with that. But if you want to get weird, you can run anything at all in a cube and in a VM on Cubes. It does not have to be Linux. It could be BDSD. It could be Alpine BDS. It could be BDSM. It could be Alpine Linux. It could be Windows. The only thing you have to do is you have to make it like an HVM, and you have to manually create it yourself and everything. There is documentation on this out there. It's not crazy hard to do, but you got to fuck around. And then once you do it once, you have a template, right? So you could just copy it, and once you do it the first time, then you're good to go. So yeah, I mean, you can if you want to. I mean, I could picture somebody wanting to run Windows in a cube for some reason, but for the most part, you don't really need Windows, or like Wine could do something or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe you should clarify or something, but yeah, I mean, you can run anything in cubes. Question: does the community quest with show topics still stand? I mean, kind of, yeah. Like from 3 months ago or so. It was more than 3 months ago. I can give list of how to make a long pillow for low price. Yes, the community quest with shows topics still stand. I can't promise I'll actually, make good use of it. But I feel like giving me low hanging fruit, like something that's easy to do, is likely to get you your $1, whatever it is I promised. And nobody actually wanted, because everyone just wants to give stuff to me. Comment: this is like from a month ago, but there was a dude who shot his ball off while appendix carrying / drawing. It sounded really painful. I laughed during the whole video really hard. It was also painful to my belly. I appendix carry a knife. Maybe it will accidentally circumcise me. Well, just make sure that you include a Jewish rabbi in your everyday carry as well, so that he can suck your penis if you accidentally circumcise yourself. Yeah. Actually I'll comment on this. So when you're I've known folks who are too paranoid to appendix carry for this reason, because they don't want to shoot their dick off, because it's scary. It's scary to point a gun at your dick. Understandably so. But I mean, look, if you need to know that there is no more dangerous time than drawing your gun or putting your gun back in the holster. An accidental discharge is more likely at this time than any other time, especially with putting the gun back in the holster, because if anything catches the trigger, it pulls it because you're pushing it forward. So you need to make real fucking sure that the safety is on, and you need to be fucking careful. And also, you need to train drawing and holstering a lot. You need to train that a lot with whatever you're carrying. But I guess that's stuff I'll go over sooner or later if I actually talk about that shit on the show. Comment/suggestion. Actually, it is not very hard to make a sub sandwich for reasonable depths. I mean, you can even buy pretty cool stuff already. What is the best way to troll a statist? I like to usually start releasing gas uncontrollably, and I don't mean by exhaling. Well, hey, if you're serious about deeper subs, then point me in the right direction. Point me to the open hardware subs or the links on Craigslist. But what's the best way to troll a statist? I mean, kind of just leave them to their own devices. They kind of troll themselves pretty well. But man, what's the best way to troll a statist? I don't know, man. Just honestly, it's whatever is fun for you is the best way to troll somebody. That's what I think. You could also just provoke them into doing something, and provoke them into threatening to call the police, and then hit them. Or you just get into that place where they pull out their phone because they think they're going to record you. They think they're going to record you while you yell at each other. You know how they do that? They record each other while they yell at each other. If someone tries to do that, smack their phone out of their fucking hand and start wailing on them. Because if someone pulls out a phone, it's an implicit threat. Okay, that's a credible threat. So just start hitting them if they do that. Rayo2 says, burn their house down? That's pretty troll. Or swat them. That's what the cool youngins are doing nowadays, at least. Swatting is old, my friend. Swatting's been happening for decades. And yes, swatting is pretty funny. If they like the state so much, why don't they marry him? Yeah, you should say that. Why don't you marry him? Why don't you go drive down your precious road to the chapel and go get a marriage license, marry the state, and fill out all the fields in the form. You probably love filling out forms, don't you? And you really like it when they send the form back to you because you didn't do it right, and then you get to do it again. Anyway, let's finish the 2 weeks of let's finish the second week of news, for fuck's sake. Fucking Crackdowns news? No, not Crackdowns news. Small Time Thugs. This one's fun. Small Time Thugs news from this week. Salt Lake City had a very big Tongan Crips gang skirmish. This is the biggest Small Time Thugs event I may have ever covered on this show. It's kind of fun. Now, in case you don't know, the Tongan Crips are huge in Salt Lake City. I think they came up before on the show because they're kind of a thing, kind of a big thing. Tongan Crips. What the fuck's a Tongan, you might ask? If you want to know what a Tongan is, just watch the show Summer Heights High It's a very funny Australian comedy show where this comedian pretends to be 3 different characters. He pretends to be a gay teacher, a gay theater teacher, and he pretends to be a high school girl who's like popular and she's like a psycho. And he pretends to be a Tongan delinquent kid, and he wears brown face to be the Tongan kid. Tongan is from Tonga, which is an island in the Pacific. It's a little tiny little Pacific island that you can't even see on a world map. And Tongans are hilarious. It's having a bunch of Tongan Crips in Salt Lake City is fucking hilarious. Yeah, don't worry, Rayo 2. I'm not going to go into that much overdrive. I'm going to do as little overdrive as possible. Fuck that. The Tongan Crips are a big thing in Salt Lake City. They basically have a quasi-state in Salt Lake City. There's so many of them. They're so insular. They're so tribal. And they have so much in-group bias, and they have such little regard for the law that they pretty much have their own enclave sub-society, second realm society inside Salt Lake City. They use the LDS for this. So the Mormons, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints, the LDS has provided these folks with a lot of assistance, which somehow turned into them getting their own LDS wards, their own LDS churches, and they don't even speak English in these churches, and it's all Tongans and it's all Tongan Crips, and they're pretty much used as just a front to shield the Tongan Crips and to it's really interesting stuff. Actually, it's quite fascinating, and it kind of seems like the LDS has been somehow corrupted by like money from the Crips or something, or like in any case they're tangled up with it now. So and like the LDS is very mainstream, and like the establishment is very like connected to Mormons and stuff in Salt Lake City. So as a result, they cover up, they like don't talk about this stuff in the news, even though it's happening all the time. It's pretty interesting stuff. And and these guys, the Tongan Crips, man, they've got their fights. They've got some internal struggles, I think, between different chapters of the Tongan Crips, and of course they've got rivalries with other gangs. There's the Rose Park Bloods in the area, and there's also a smaller gang called the Rose Park Taliban, believe it or not, which is made up of like Afghani kids who are, and the Rose Park Taliban is allied with the Bloods, so they're obviously not cool with the Tongan Crips. So anyway, this week there was a funeral for some Tongan Crip guy in Salt Lake City at an LDS ward, and this story might sound familiar because something almost exactly like this happened earlier this year. So at this guy's funeral, don't ask me how, but it's not a shocker. There's a massive skirmish between the Tongan Crips and other gangs, or maybe between different kinds of Tongan Crips. I don't know. It's hard to pick it all apart. But there's over 80 Tongan Crips and over 80 motherfuckers involved in a giant fucking shootout, giant fucking skirmish in the street. And don't get me wrong here, folks. The Bludgies knew this was going to happen. They knew, because it happens. It happened before at a funeral earlier this year. They had a dozen Bludgies there already, and still a skirmish happened with fucking 80 people. This is like, it's like a war zone or something to have a small arms skirmish between 80 people in the street. And it doesn't stop there. Of course, some motherfuckers are getting shipped off to the hospital, right? Because they have trauma. And they then proceeded to bring the war to the hospital. And like, there was a group of Tongan Crips that pretty much tried to raid the emerge of the hospital, tried to raid them and like get in there, and they were like attacking workers at the hospital and stuff. And as a result, they sent in the SWAT teams, and they had snipers on the roofs. They sent in at least 2 Bearcats, okay, light armored vehicles. The hospital was locked down. All non-essential staff was sent home. Operations were canceled. The hospital was a war objective in Salt Lake City.
Water rationing remains in effect until further notice. Showers are outlawed.
Exactly. And it is just so, I cannot like, this just makes me smile so much. And maybe it's just because I watched Summer Heights High, and I watched a spinoff, which is all about the Tongan kid, Jonah from Tonga. It's a beautiful spinoff. I also recommend the Jimmy spinoff. All good. You should watch all of it. It's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it just makes me smile. Like, you can just picture it, like, Miss, I didn't fucking shoot him. It was your dick. Your dick shot him, miss. You know, like, I can just picture, it's just so funny to imagine Tongan people as gang members, just because, like, that's my main exposure to Tongan people, is one specific racist fictional comedic depiction of the Tongan kid.
Aha, dang, you are one funny nigga.
Hey, fun fact. Do you want to hear? Well, first of all, there was only one death, by the way. As far as I know, there was only one death. So either their aim is about as shit as a stormtrooper's aim, or I don't know, they're just shooting at each other for fun or something. But fun fact, the guy who died, who the funeral was for, the way that he died was he went to like buy a liquor from a liquor store or something, and fuck, I can't remember what happened. He had some problem with him at the liquor store, and then he got a shotgun and came back to shoot the guy behind the counter because he was mad at him. But 2 bystanders who happened to be armed, because it's fucking Utah, shot him, and they saved the liquor store guy, and that's who the funeral was for. So no surprise that there's a bunch of Crips at that guy's funeral. Here's another fun one. This one's good. Out of over 100 witnesses at this skirmish, not one talked. Not one of them talked to the Bludgies. And they even had a tip line. All right. So anyone could talk. Anyone in all of Salt Lake City, any Tongan in Salt Lake City could talk, could call the tip line anonymously and talk. Not a single call. They didn't get one call. I just want to highlight this because, like, why can't we all be like Tongans? Like, these guys should be emulated. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, these guys have absolutely zero regard for the law. The island chain of Tonga. Oh, so it's not one island. It's like an archipelago. Whatever. All right. Whatever. The archipelago of Tonga. Whatever. Yeah. It's in the Pacific. These guys have zero regard for the state's laws. They have their own little enclave society in fucking Salt Lake City, which is a nice spot. It's a good, if you're going to pick a spot, it's a good one. And they have their own customs, their own laws, their own law enforcement. They have they're using churches as a cover to protect them. And not one of them will talk to the Bludgies. Not one. That's wild to me, man. And impressive and commendable. And I think we should all be a little more like Tongans, but, you know, just maybe a little less retarded and fucked up. Maybe we could be like that, but, like, instead of being retarded and fucked up, we could be like cool and nice. And I'm not saying they're not nice. They're actually well known for being very nice. Believe it or not, they're very well known for like smiling and speaking nicely and being polite. It's just that they're also very violent and they're all criminals. That's all. Radio 2 says, I'm just making sure they fucked up a Free Isles project back in the 70s or 80s. I think that was the years sometime. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to hear that. As you can see, Tongans have a bit of a reputation. Anyway, fucking looking forward. Oh yeah, Operation Minerva. queenoftheisles.com. Operation Minerva. I guess we can read about that later, how the Tongans fucked up a Free Isles project. Yeah, that's because the Tongans already have their own Free Isles. We already have our own Free Isles. We're going to have our own Free Isles. It's going to be sick. If you want free content, they were rejecting the invaders. I respect it. Oh, right, because they weren't welcome. Someone decided they were going to make a country on top of their country, huh? And they didn't take it lying down, unlike certain other natives who shall not be named. No, I'm just kidding. The Native Americans were killed by smallpox. Okay, that's what really happened. Look forward to having a lot more stories from the Salt Lake City Tongan Crips. I'm pretty sure we're going to start with this, kicking off a gang war right about now. I'm sure that literally next week we will have another story about Salt Lake City Tongans. It was some rich white corporate dudes dredging new land. LOL, fuck them. If I recall, there were a few projects like that. Huh, well. Sometimes that's what happens. You got to make friends. You got to make friends with the locals. You got to get cool with them if you want to do something like that. And then they could be, I mean, just can you picture, like, Tongans would be and will be very shortly, I think, great cipher mercs. Like, these guys are perfect cipher mercs. They're warlike. These guys are Mandalorians. Look at them. They're such a warlike people. They're just so ready. They're just so ready to go. Like, fuck, man. Let's put these people to good use. They only joined the Crips because that's what there was. We can give them something better. Gotta start making children with their women first before taking over. Hell yeah. Sounds good to me. Anyway. Parties and party vans news. There's this fucked up murder trial in Massachusetts where some woman murdered 3 of her children. And I'm hearing that people are... I do not understand this, so forgive me. I just learned about this. You're going to have to bear with me. I'm hearing that people are somehow romanticizing her or supporting her or seeing her as the good guy. And yes, that's... I would have liked to put some of this in PsyOps news, but it's in parties and party vans because there's a protest around it. And it's one weird party to be throwing. And yes, there is a big PsyOp campaign around it, which is like this anti-child PsyOp, where I'm hearing that they're getting people to do like Instagram videos where they fuck with their children and abuse their children. And it kind of feels like I saw that someone suggested this could inspire copycat killings of your children, which I agree with, and I think that that's part of the intention. This is totally like Illuminati satanic. This is like order, not Levian Satanism. Levian Satanism is cool. Don't get me wrong. This is like Order of the Nine Angels type satanic shit, where like they're like trying to get people to kill their kids and like trying to make them think it's cool. Like, yeah, postpartum depression and murdering your children is cool, which is great. It's actually, when you think about it, it's kind of perfect because like they've been banking on female hysteria for a long time, and what a lot of folks don't know. And man, when you think about it, it's so obvious. And in a while, they've been doing this for a long time through abortion, right? They get them to just kill their babies before they're born, and that's okay. But this is an interesting new step and when you think about it, it's a no-brainer because it's like, you know, you want to get rid of the kids. You want people not to like kids, not to want to have kids. Depopulation, blah blah blah. And also, you've got hysterical women and encouraging hysterics in women. And a lot of folks don't know this, but most like abuse of children is done by like mothers. Most abuse of children is done by women. It's funny. It's almost like men are more violent overall, but they're not necessarily smart enough to only pick on someone smaller than them. Sometimes they'll do that too, but they get macho and they do something dumb, like they'll like pick a fight even when they shouldn't, even when they're gonna like die because they did it, or like they're just crazy. Men are just like crazy. They're just like violent all over the place. But women are the ones who hang out with the kids and get pissed off by the kids, and the kids are smaller than them and they can pick on them with minimal consequences. So yeah, women are actually more abusive to children. So this is actually kind of clever when you think about it. But yeah, hardcore psyop. This is not a bottom-up grassroots. This did not develop organically from people just doing. No way. I don't believe that for a second. Anyway, pretty interesting. I heard there's a party being thrown, a little bit of a protest. I don't know if it's going to get hot. It's going to get interesting. Ray2 says women/wives are raising a fuck ton of money for someone that killed 3 of her children. We need like moral white hat kidnappers in the second realm, saving children from these TikTok bitches. Trust me, way ahead of you. I agree. And you know, we do have white hat kidnappers in the second realm. For the most part, it's the other parent. So you kind of got to hope that you have one parent who's less bad than the other. And for the most part, that's what happens. It's almost every time when you see an Amber Alert, when you see a child has been kidnapped, most of the time it's a parent or something saving the child who's kidnapping them. That's why they always have the same last name as their abductor. Because it's just legally an abduction. Just like statutory rape is only legally rape. It's not actually rape. This is statutory kidnapping when one of your parents kidnaps you to save you from the other parent without going through the court system. Or maybe they did go through the court system for 10 years and decided that was enough of the child being beaten up or traumatized or something. But yeah, it happens. It happens, folks. And it happens a lot. And let me tell you, if you need to kidnap a kid to save them and you need to go missing, there's always guys like me, Thane Riddle, the Fresh Prince of privacy, security, and decentralization. You can get my SimpleX address or session ID, vonupodcast.com/CD, and a privacy consultant such as myself can help you go missing. All right, for a good cause, as always. Hey, if someone can vouch for you so that I know you're not lying, I'll probably do it I'll give you a special discount or do it for free to help the kid. Anyway, PSYOPs news. Suddenly the U.S. president is again talking about the U.S. running the Strait of Hormuz, and it's getting a little less funny because somebody let him use the Photoshop guy to make a graphic where the Strait of Hormuz is a U.S. territory, which is just weird. It's just weird, man. I don't know what to think about this. I mean, first of all, water is not typically claimed as part of state's territory, but hey, they can do that. Why not? They can make up something new. I mean, do I even need to say anything about this? Like, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say about that. But hey, look forward to more funny stuff like this in the next 10 years, because this World War III thing, man, let me tell you, if you think that's funny, just wait till you hear just wait till you get a load of what's coming in the next 10 years. UK put out a migrant pamphlet. Elsewise in PSYOPs news, the UK has put out a pamphlet for migrants that tells them that they're not allowed to rape people or enslave people, and they could go to jail if they did. So, in case you can't tell, they're doing this to fuck with you. So this isn't really for the migrants. It's for everyone who's pissed off about the immigrants that they are deliberately shipping in and they are deliberately causing problems with, and they're trying to get you to be all racist and anti-immigrant. They're trying to get you all to fight and be upset. And they keep trying. They're trying to make you pissed off about how the cops won't do anything about that, but they'll come after you for saying something on social media. They're doing that on purpose. They're trying to fuck with you. They're trying to make you mad. So that because they're controlling your movements, they're controlling your right-wing movements. And this is another thing.
Can you go fuck yourself?
This is another thing. There's two angles here. One is they want you to react like, oh yeah, look at how ineffective you are. You won't enforce the law, but you'll make a pamphlet telling them not to rape people. But the other, and that's the obvious psyop here, but there's a subtler psyop here, which is this is straight up racist propaganda by implying that they need to be told, not like they think it's an everyday thing to rape people and enslave people and they don't know it's against the law. That itself is they're trying to promote that view that this is what they're like, this is what foreign people are like, this is what their dark-skinned people are like. They don't even know it's against the law because, well, I guess where they come from, it's just normal. Guess what? It's not normal. It's not normal anywhere. It's illegal everywhere. Just did you know that? Just you might want to think for a second here about what they're doing here before you go getting upset. All right. But it's all in good fun. It's all in good. I think what you're really jealous about is that you don't get to rape people. So maybe you should just become one of them. Why don't you just go roll around in some spices and some charcoal and then just wander on into the take a vacation at the migrant facilities and just rape a few people, get it out of your system, stop being jelly, all right, and just live your life and go play some Super Nintendo or whatever you guys like to do over in England. DOJ, elsewise in PsyOps News, the DOJ, the feds in the U.S., arrested some lady in New York. This was another FBI entrapment thing. I don't know if you know this, but for decades the FBI does this thing where they create terrorist operations and they like recruit people and entrap them in terrorist plots, and they like give them materials and things, and then they arrest them for it, which is illegal, by the way, but who cares? And the FBI does that shit like day in and day out, all the time. Not all the FBI, but there's a branch of the FBI that like that's all they do. It's like their full-time job. And this is another one. This chick had a fake bomb. She's like an innocent, mentally ill person, pretty much, who is caught up in this terrorist entrapment plot. And I guess something that feels almost interesting about this is the way it involves a fake bomb that never would have gone off, kind of like the ones that they keep finding all over the place, which almost makes you wonder if, sometimes the FBI just does this but doesn't say anything and doesn't arrest anybody. It's just a thought. Maybe sometimes they just do the terrorist attack with the dud bomb or whatever, and then they don't arrest anybody and they don't say anything, right? Like, why not? War news from this week. Thank God. It's almost over, everybody. War news from this week is brought to you by Agorist.market. Make lucre, not war. The U.S. lowering priority of South Korean defense. Further, lessening joint military exercises between the U.S. and the South Korean military. I put this as the headline of War News because all that yogurt stuff is so boring and not that big of a deal. But I thought this was meaningful because I think South Korea is something you kind of want to watch when because it's a South Korea, Taiwan. That's the stuff you want to watch for the World War III thing. And so the U.S. acting like they're getting less militarily involved with South Korea is good news in theory, but it's way too little, way too late. Korea remains a likely World War III trigger point. Doesn't do much good in the long run to do a few less military exercises with them. It would do a lot better if they pulled the U.S. military out of South Korea so that if South Korea ever gets hit by North Korea, you don't have U.S. casualties, which is the whole thing that triggers escalation between the U.S. and North Korea, and then the U.S. and China, and Russia, and then blah, blah, blah. But that's not happening. So U.S. soldiers, the U.S. jarheads, shall remain forevermore in South Korea so that they can get blown up by a bomb and justify some sort of retaliation. In Hamburger Helper against the yogurts of Yog Sothoth, more boring crap happened, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. Everybody thought the Houthis tried to hit the UAE and missed. And it's kind of like, hey, too bad you didn't bribe them, huh? Maybe the yogurt should have a word with the Houthis. Hey, we're not supposed to hit them. They bribed us. But psych, it was the yogurt after all. So I guess the bribe was more like a monthly subscription. Huh? I guess their subscription must have lapsed. But wait, twist number 2. The UAE says it was only a whoopsie. The Iranian state didn't mean to shoot missiles at UAE, but they were meant for the Strait of Hormuz. Nonetheless, even though it's the UAE themselves saying this, they still crossed their arms and gave the cold shoulder to the Iranian state and said, I'm not talking to you until you say sorry. And they stopped dealings with the Iranian state, financial stuff, blah, 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 which is nasty. It's kind of a low blow because like the Iranian state, I think that's how they like trade stocks and shit is like through the UAE banks and stuff. So like it's not a nice thing to do, but whatever. I'm sure it won't last. They're just like throwing a tantrum. UAE is acting like a woman, which makes sense because guys that party all the time and they drink on yachts and they snort coke all the time, they're kind of like women, right? They're just seeking immediate gratification all the time. So it makes sense that they would act like that. The U.S. boasts a new wave of economic war against the yogurt, against third parties, against those who trade with the yogurt. Okay, whatever. We'll see what that means, if anything. Are you going to sanction China or something? I mean, that's easier said than done. I don't know. This kind of just sounds like low-key owning up to we're not winning, the war is not working. And also, this is going to happen. This is going to last for a long time. That's another, in case you needed another sign that it's going to last for a long time. Economic wars aren't short. Put it to you that way. But so I guess I don't know what does the U.S. and the yogurt have to do? It's like a race to fuck over the whole world. Guess who wins that contest? Nobody. But that's what states are good for. So they're probably going to do it. The Israeli state hit an airstrip in Syria that was being rebuilt. And I kind of have a feeling this was mostly only because the Turkish state was there and getting too cozy there. The Turkish state was helping rebuild the airstrip, and they were going to use the airstrip. And I think that's why the Israeli state hit it. Because let's be real, the Syrian state is now ISIS, pretty much. And ISIS is pretty much Mossad, which is to say the Israeli state. So, you know, forgive me for if that's a bit flippant for your liking, but I have a feeling they wouldn't have minded as much if it was just their own puppet state rebuilding the strip. I think they just didn't like it because the Turkish state was involved. But who knows? Maybe they don't want it anyway. And finally, for fuck's sake, the shady U.S. military contractor logistics ship sank off the coast of Spain. This is a ship run by a private company, but they're they got a military contract to do logistics. They're shipping supplies for the U.S. military, and they sank to do with some problem to do with some gigantic fucking shaft thing, or a gasket, a big fat gasket on the shaft thing. I know what you're thinking, but what I've heard is that based on the nature of the issue, it likely wasn't sabotage. So it's just bad timing. But hey, who knows? Maybe it's some sort of new sneaky sabotage. If so, I would like to learn how to do it. Finally, it's over. It's over. It was a whole show of nothing but news. I think that happened once before. Let's hope it happens never again. Let's hope that I die instead. That's going to work. Oh, right. That's what you were talking about. Anyway, fucking what do I do at the end of the show? Okay. I'm supposed to plug the guest. Okay, so P.A.Z.NIA Thane, everyone follow P.A.Z.NIA Thane on X, and go to P.A.Z.NIA Thane's website on NomadNet. It's not really a website, but go to P.A.Z.NIA Thane's NomadNet on Reticulum, and subscribe to him on YouTube. Go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleX to peruse the various SimpleX chats and join some of them if you want. I don't care. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. If you know any scrappy young men aged 3 to 25 who seem like they could end up being a cop, soldier, gang member, a Tongan Crip, a terrorist, a school shooter, please make sure to let them know that we're on TikTok and Instagram at PAZNIA Radio. I'm a super serious, good privacy and security consultant, and I will help you kidnap your child, save them from a bad situation. Go to vonupodcast.com/CD. That's Victor Oscar November Uniform podcast.com/Charlie Delta, and you can find my session ID or SimpleX address on there. I leave you. Oh yeah, plug next show. Next week. I don't have a guest yet. And maybe Down to Earth Tips will come back, and I'll talk about Everyday Carry, maybe. And fucking also, there's going to be Tinker Tribe with Greg Dode, and there's going to be fucking a monthly PAZNIA news show, with Rayo 2 and Shadrach. I leave you with a quote from Franz Kafka: "Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it." Self-Liberation Saturday will keep going for some hours still, maybe with a little sundry PRN deprogramming, such as the beloved PAZNIA Folklore Storytime, and ending with a Vonu podcast primetime. Building the Second Realm selections. Hey, Building the Second Realm, they stole my name. Anyway, that TVP primetime is going to be made up of TVP number 74, Autonomy and Peace, Second Realm Foundations, TVP number 76, Proxy Merchants, Facilitating Interaction Between the Two Realms, and TVP number 83, #Agora plus Conclusion. Sounds pretty good to me, so don't touch that dial, boss. Stay tuned and stay frosty.
Our freedom, who art in privacy, hallowed be thy exemption. Thy Vonu home base come, thou will be free, on earth as it is in Vonu. Give us this day our daily Linux, and forgive us our trespasses as we burn those who trespass against us. And lead us not into jail, but exempt us from evil. Amen.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
Billy Mays here for the Pain Liberator Miracle Muscle Pain Relief Spray. Ever have one of those deep and dirty pains or strains that just won't go away? Annoying migraines? Maybe you got into an altercation with Goat General Willie 2 and are only alive because of his mercy. Regardless, you've tried everything, but have you tried Pain Liberator? With the power of DMZO, aspirin, and magnesium, this Miracle Muscle Pain Relief Spray is taken directly and deeply into the tissues, providing instant pain relief. Wow. Commonly used in sports and physical training independently, DMZO has its own benefits, but combined with anything, in this case, aspirin and magnesium, those compounds are taken directly to your pain point with 90% absorption rate. Double. Wow. That means lower doses needed, rapid relief, and a provably safe way to live pain-free. Just visit libertyunderattack.com/pain to place your order today. Again, libertyunderattack.com/pain.